God's curse that makes narcissists suffer in their old age. When we think of the elderly, we often imagine wisdom, kindness, or the calming presence of a life well lived. But what happens when someone's life has been dominated by selfishness, manipulation, and a lack of empathy? What happens when that person, who has spent decades chasing admiration, control, and validation, is forced to confront their own mortality and diminishing influence? The truth is, there's something deeply unsettling about the decline of a narcissist in their old age. It's almost as if, after a lifetime of self-absorption and arrogance, a kind of cosmic retribution takes place, something that feels like God's curse. As they age, narcissists begin to face the natural consequences of their behavior: isolation, deteriorating health, and a profound sense of emptiness. No longer able to rely on the adoration of others, their once inflated sense of self starts to shrink, and with it, their world becomes smaller and more painful. The narcissist, who has spent their life using others for personal gain, finds themselves abandoned, ignored, and suffering in ways they could never have imagined when they were in their prime. In this video, we'll explore the curse that seems to descend upon narcissists as they grow old. The very traits they've relied on for power and influence become their greatest sources of misery. It's a fate that feels almost poetic. God's way of balancing the scales, ensuring that the consequences of a narcissistic life don't go unnoticed. But why does this happen? And what exactly does it look like for a narcissist to suffer in their later years? Stick with us as we unravel this disturbing reality. Before we dive into this fascinating and unsettling topic, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. This is a conversation you don't want to miss, especially if you or someone you know has dealt with narcissism in any form. You'll gain valuable insight into why narcissists end up so broken in their final years. As a narcissist enters their later years, they face a number of challenges that, while common for most elderly individuals, are particularly devastating for someone who has lived their entire life without empathy or consideration for others. For most people, aging means coming to terms with the reality of physical decline, loneliness, and the loss of loved ones. But for a narcissist, aging is not just about confronting the inevitabilities of life. It's about realizing that their entire existence has been built on a fragile foundation of lies, manipulation, and deceit. Let's think for a moment about the core characteristics of a narcissist: an inflated sense of self-importance, a relentless need for admiration, and a profound lack of empathy for others. These traits, when experienced in a younger person, can often be masked by charm, social status, and the ability to manipulate others for personal gain. However, as time passes and the narcissist grows older, the tools they once used to control and manipulate others begin to wither away. This is where the curse begins. For a narcissist, old age is a reminder that the world does not revolve around them. The body weakens, the mind deteriorates, and their social influence wanes. But perhaps the most devastating aspect of aging for a narcissist is the isolation that inevitably follows. Narcissists may spend their lives surrounded by people, but these relationships are rarely based on genuine affection or mutual respect. They are built on manipulation, admiration, and a constant flow of attention. Once the narcissist's ability to maintain this facade disappears, whether due to physical decline, the loss of social status, or simply the exhaustion of those around them, they are left with nothing but the cold, uncomfortable truth of their own isolation. This isolation is particularly cruel for narcissists because it strips them of their most important source of validation, the adoration and attention of others. No longer able to charm or control those around them, The narcissist is left alone with their thoughts. And what do they find when they look inward? A hollow, fragile self-image, built on years of deception and inflated self-worth, now beginning to crumble. Imagine an elderly narcissist who has spent their entire life demanding respect, admiration, and loyalty from others. They spent years using people for personal gain, manipulating situations to their advantage, and controlling those who care for them. Now, with their health failing, they find themselves unable to maintain this same level of control. They begin to see the people around them, their children, grandchildren, or caregivers, not as sources of admiration, but as people who resent them. The curse becomes evident. They are no longer able to manipulate others into providing the constant validation they crave. This situation leads to an even more tragic consequence: the decline of self-worth. Narcissists may believe that their self-importance is inherent, something that should be recognized by everyone around them. But when they reach old age, they come to realize that their constant need for validation has left them empty. They have no real relationships, no genuine connections, and no one to turn to for comfort. Their entire identity has been built on a series of manipulations, and now that they are no longer able to manipulate, they find themselves adrift in a sea of emptiness. But it doesn't end there. In fact, as the years go by and a narcissist's mental and physical faculties begin to deteriorate, they may experience something even worse: the loss of control. Narcissists are control freaks. They have to be the ones who call the shots in every situation. But as they grow older, this becomes increasingly difficult. Their health may fail, and they may require the help of others to perform simple daily tasks. This loss of independence is excruciating for a narcissist who has spent their life making others feel small in comparison to their perceived greatness. The frustration of losing control can trigger narcissistic rage, outbursts of anger, resentment, and hostility. This rage often manifests as verbal abuse or aggressive behavior, and it can have a profound effect on those who are caring for the elderly narcissist. But instead of eliciting the sympathy and empathy they might expect from their caregivers, these rages often drive people further away. The narcissist's desperate need for attention becomes even more pronounced, but they are left to fume in their isolation, watching as the people they once controlled drift further and further away. This brings us to another aspect of the curse: regret and self-loathing. Narcissists rarely, if ever, acknowledge their flaws or wrongdoings. They often refuse to take responsibility for the hurt they've caused, preferring instead to blame others for their failures. But as they age and the consequences of their actions catch up with them, they may begin to experience a sense of regret. However, this regret is not a healthy, reflective regret. It is a self-centered regret, driven by the narcissist's inability to accept the consequences of their own behavior. They may lash out at others, demanding forgiveness or sympathy, but never truly understanding why they feel so empty inside. As they near the end of their lives, narcissists are forced to confront something they spent their entire lives avoiding: death. Death is the ultimate reminder that we are not invincible, that we are not the center of the universe. For a narcissist, the idea of mortality can be unbearable. They may refuse to acknowledge it, pretending as though they are still in control and capable of exerting influence over their surroundings. But deep down, they know that their time is running out. And as they face this inevitable reality, the curse of narcissism becomes even more pronounced. The fear of death becomes intertwined with the fear of being forgotten, something the narcissist can never tolerate. In their final years, many narcissists will experience profound loneliness, exacerbated by the fact that they have spent their lives pushing others away, the people who might have once been there for them. family, friends, loved ones, are now gone, no longer willing to tolerate the narcissist's toxic behaviors. The loneliness that once felt manageable now becomes unbearable as the narcissist realizes that they are, in the end, completely alone. And so, we see how the narcissist's life, built on the need for control, admiration, and validation, ultimately unravels as they face the inevitable consequences of their actions. God's curse on the narcissist is not an act of vengeance, but a natural consequence of a lifetime spent denying the humanity of others. It's the painful realization that no amount of manipulation, no amount of self-promotion, and no amount of control can prevent the inevitable decline of both the body and the ego. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this exploration of narcissism in old age insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your loved ones. It's important to understand the lasting impact of narcissistic behaviors and how they shape not only the lives of those around them, but the narcissists themselves as they age. Until next time, take care and be kind to those around you. Exposing the secret life of the female narcissist. There's a certain type of woman who can be irresistibly charming, captivating, and always in control, yet beneath the polished exterior lies a darker truth, something hidden beneath layers of manipulation, deceit, and emotional manipulation. You might think you know someone who fits this description, someone who seems to have it all together, but leaves a trail of emotional destruction in their wake. Today, we're diving deep into the secret life of the female narcissist. What makes them tick? How do they manipulate and control the people around them? And most importantly, why is it so difficult to recognize these traits in women, even when they are right in front of us? Narcissism isn't just a personality disorder. It's a carefully constructed defense mechanism that masks deep insecurity and an unrelenting need for validation. Women with narcissistic traits are often seen as strong, confident, and driven, but their apparent success and charisma can mask something far darker. In fact, female narcissists often hide behind a facade of femininity, using their charm, beauty, and social grace to manipulate those around them. But what happens when their mask slips? What does their secret life look like when they can no longer maintain their control? In this video, we will expose the intricacies of the female narcissist's life, from the way they manipulate relationships, manage their public image, and use their emotional intelligence to deceive, to the toll this behavior takes on those closest to them. This is not just an exploration of narcissistic traits. It's about understanding how these traits manifest specifically in women who often get away with such behaviors because of societal expectations. Before we dive into the details, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. If you have ever encountered a narcissistic woman or want to understand more about this complex personality type, this video will open your eyes to the manipulation tactics they use every day. Stick around to learn the shocking truths that are often hidden in plain sight. At first glance, the female narcissist seems to have it all. The perfect career, a seemingly loving family, an attractive social media presence, and a carefully curated circle of friends. From the outside, everything appears flawless, as if she's managed to conquer the world through sheer strength and charm. But, as many people eventually realize, nothing is as it seems. The truth behind this persona is a web of deceit, control, and manipulation designed to keep her at the center of attention. So, what's really going on behind closed doors? Unlike their male counterparts, female narcissists often operate under a different set of societal expectations. Women are traditionally encouraged to be nurturing, empathetic, and supportive, qualities that work to the advantage of a female narcissist. she is able to hide her true self behind the mask of a caring, loving mother, daughter, or friend. It's this very contradiction that makes her dangerous. No one suspects the woman who appears to be the perfect caregiver might be hiding a toxic personality. The first and perhaps most important aspect of the female narcissist's secret life is her manipulation of relationships. Narcissistic women are often excellent at charming others, using their beauty, wit, and charisma to win people over. But this charm is just the beginning of their tactic to maintain control. Narcissistic women thrive on relationships where they are seen as the center of attention, the one everyone looks up to and relies on. But these relationships are rarely genuine. They are based on manipulation and a one-sided exchange, where the narcissist demands admiration, praise, and even self-sacrifice from others, while offering very little in return. Take, for example, the narcissistic mother. Her love and affection for her children are conditional. She expects her children to fulfill her emotional needs, to adore her unconditionally, and to serve her interests. If they do not meet her expectations, she punishes them with emotional neglect, silent treatment, or guilt-tripping. This dynamic creates a relationship that is not based on mutual love and respect, but on an unspoken agreement. The children must give everything to her while she gives very little back. In romantic relationships, the female narcissist plays similar games. She seeks out partners who are either highly sensitive or vulnerable, people who will be easy to manipulate. Once she's secured a partner, she immediately begins a campaign of control. She may use flattery, charm, and seduction to keep her partner hooked, all while subtly undermining their self-esteem. This way, the partner becomes reliant on her for emotional validation, making it easier for her to dictate the terms of the relationship. The female narcissist may also use jealousy, emotional manipulation, and gaslighting as tools to keep her partner in check. But what happens when these relationships become unsatisfactory? When a partner grows wise to her tactics, the female narcissist often resorts to discarding them. This is a cold and calculated act, designed to protect her fragile ego. The narcissist may begin to distance herself emotionally, cut off communication, or make her partner feel invisible. Her narcissistic rage may also emerge, attacking the victim emotionally, often in an attempt to leave them feeling confused and broken. The narcissist thrives on creating chaos in the lives of those who have served her, and once they are no longer of use, they are easily replaced with another source of supply. But the narcissist doesn't only manipulate romantic partners or family members. She also knows how to create a persona that is flawless in the public eye. Through social media, community involvement, and appearances, the female narcissist projects the image of being a loving, successful, and caring woman. She might post pictures of her perfect family, her happy marriage, or her accomplishments at work, all the while carefully controlling how much information the public knows about her true self. This careful curation of an image is a key part of the narcissist's secret life.